Hey everyone, I wanted to make a little post today, just a short 10-minute post, just to tell some of you guys about my story as a teenager. Quite a lot of you know me as a poker player, a mindset coach, a peak performance coach, a poker coach. And so, I wanted to actually give a little bit of a story as to what got me where I am today, and more specifically, what happened to me as a teenager. A lot of you may, really have seen what's gone on with my poker career, and maybe a bit of my counseling stuff as you see my post. But yeah, what really shaped me into that was actually what happened to me as a teenager. And some of it might surprise you because I actually didn't even finish my school certificate, which was, basically year 10. So when I was 15, I basically dropped out of school. And I wanted to share this post today because it actually holds pretty close to my heart, this idea of, well, what happened to me when I was younger, how I was supported through a really difficult time, and then what got me and drove me into poker, and what drove me into the successes of poker and the downfalls as well. Of course, nothing goes in a straight line. So look, it all kind of started. I guess a little bit of the background of my family is that I was born into a family of, well, there were five kids at the time, and then there was another one below me. So I'm one of six kids. I'm the second youngest. And I suppose that's already where my competitive side maybe came out, especially because I had four brothers, or have four brothers. And so that's kind of where it all began. I was born into a Christian family, went to church and everything, really grew up as a strong Christian, got baptized when I was 10 by choice, really wanted to go to a Christian school after public primary school. So I ended up going to a Christian school by choice as well. And then I got to 15, and I hit a wall. I suppose it was kind of like a turning point for me. And what actually happened at that time was that, well, I guess being at a Christian school, my father's a pastor, or he was a full-time pastor at the time, and it kind of was a thing where I felt a lot of pressure. It was naturally occurring to me at the time to be, I guess, like a school kind of leader, in the sense of, I played music, and so I really organized things in my band, leading the band, leading things I don't know, just even in primary school, I was doing things like getting up there as a prefect and speaking in front of everyone. And so I love speaking, I love doing things, I love being a leader. And I think it just came naturally seeing my dad be a pastor in front of the church all the time. So that was kind of, I guess, one of the main things that drew me towards that, I guess, leadership and also humanitarian type of heart, I suppose. And that was kind of my Christian values and beliefs as well. And so in high school, I was really into music and really loved all that. I played guitar, played drums. I was a little skateboarder until I hurt myself, and then got more into music. And I always kind of tested little things, tried things, failed, tried, failed. I played all sorts of different sports. And I think now as an adult, I'm a bit of an all-rounder, but I never really was any good at any one specific sport, like fantastic anyway, but I could play lots of different ones. So through a lot of trial and error, I guess that got me just comfortable with trying things and failing things. But anyway, look, I got to this point in high school where I was in year 10. It was kind of early. It was around about March or April. And I remember the principal, the deputy principal actually pulled me into his office, and he kind of asked me to be one of the school leaders. And at that point, I don't know what happened there, but it triggered something in my mind that I was like, whoa, do I want this? This is a lot, do I want to actually become a school leader? I mean, is this what my life looks like? I was 15, and I was starting to see what was going on in the world out there. And, I was also into emo music and hardcore music. So that had its sense of, temptation into the other world, or what's on the other side. So I don't know, at that time I was really, really tested to the point where it kind of took me down. I was really, really depressed by it. So much that I had to go and see a school counselor. Actually, it wasn't even a school counselor. It was actually outside the schools. So my parents were heavily supportive of trying to give me the resources to help me. And the counselor was really good and everything. But, I was 15 and really quite lost. My sense of identity was being completely challenged. And I just think about teenagers nowadays, and I just really, really worry. And I really, really have a pull, or almost like a calling, to actually try and help teenagers to have, not to say that I'm trying to tell them what to do, but just to give them a space where they can actually explore the world, because there's so much has changed. I mean, even as adults, we're all struggling at the moment to find this sense of like, what do I do with myself? My industry's died, or my jobs have changed. I've had to move places. Like, a lot of us are really lost right now, and I just can't help but think about teenagers and just feel that teenagers, like with these ever-changing industries of the technology, a lot of like university degrees are becoming obsolete because of technology. Even things like, well, music's a good one. I mean, like, who's going to be performing music anytime soon where there's big crowds of people together? Like, it's going to be a long time. So, like, I just really wonder, like, about all these passionate kids who had these ideas and things they wanted to do with their lives, and now it's all just dramatically changed. So I feel this calling and this pull to actually use my skills to help teenagers, to be able to pull through, and have a space to explore their mind, explore their opportunities, and just have like a chance to put one foot in front of the other and see what actually unfolds for them. Because yeah, I just really feel like a lot of them could be really lost right now. But anyway, look, I mean, coming back to my story and why I guess I feel this calling now after a good 10 years of playing poker for a living, transitioning into doing counseling and peak performance mindset coaching stuff. Like, my pull here is that my experience as a teenager was that I would have been completely lost if it wasn't for the support of my family, and also actually the support of a very specific mentor that I had. He was a youth leader at one of the Salvation Armies just near me, and he knows who he is. His name's Matt, and he was just such an incredible leader to me at the time, and guide and mentor during a really challenging time of my identity. At the time, I didn't know it. I didn't know I was being challenged by this big thing, existential crisis or something. But now, as I reflect back on it, he was such a great support for me. Like, he actually, at the center, he helped me organize gigs. So I was actually having to like call bands. I was like calling security, like food, all sorts of different things, ticket prices, ticket sales. Like, I really learned a lot about how to run this operation. And the bonus and the kicker for me was that my band got to play in some of these shows. And it was so cool to have that opportunity. And it gave me a sense of purpose, and it gave me a sense of direction. And, like, who knows what I would have got into if I didn't have that support and that guidance. And so to me, like, that is something that really pulled me through like a really, like a challenging time. And so I think that, I really want to give that back to younger people. And I guess some people have different stories. Some people could have a story of, oh, I had a really horrible, like, challenging teenage years where I was into drinking and drugs and up to no good. For me, I kind of avoided a lot of that, because I was guided and supported really well. So my sense and my pull of trying to help teenagers now is actually to do with that. It's associated with, well, hey, like, I didn't really get involved in a lot of that because I was like around cool people and like a really, really good guide and someone I really looked up to. So anyway, so that's kind of like one of the pulls that I would say, or reasons why I want to use all the skills I've learned with my achievements in poker, my achievements in life, and now my studies as a counselor and work as a coach. Anyway, coming back to my story. So I actually, during that time when I was really troubled and now I was challenged, I wanted to leave school altogether, but my parents were like, well, maybe we can just change schools. And so they helped support me to change schools. I went to a public school, and then I realized not pretty quickly that was not where I fit in as well. And so that only took one school term for me to say, no, I think I'm good. I think I want to go back to the Christian school. And then, my parents just wanted to try and do the best that they could to support me, which was the right thing to do, I think, and then I was pulled back into the Christian school, and it only took me a couple of weeks back there where I just couldn't focus. I was still very, very lost. Even though outside of school, I was guided really well by, my support and my mentor, as I said. But then, it got to the point where I just knew I wanted to do music. I was so passionate about music, and I still love it today, but I just wanted to do music. And all this support I was getting to run gigs and practice and play with my band, like, that's all I wanted to do. And I had no idea if that's what I wanted to do as a full career or not. I guess I did as a kid, because that's the pipe dream, that's the dream that we have, and that's what the inspiration that all these things on the internet and that like give us and give young people these days. So if you have a teenager and they just say they want to play Pokemon cards for a living, like for all you know, that's what they think their future is. And you got to let them try this stuff and then see where it goes. And if it works, then keep doing it. If it doesn't, then you've at least supported them to do something and try something and see what skills they can develop as a result, because they're passionate about it. You've got to use the passion. So I was heavily supported with that, which was great. When it comes to school, I just like academically and just like, I don't know, the society, socially, I guess I just didn't want to be there. I knew that. And so I ended up actually leaving halfway through with basically a medical certificate saying that I had like depression, and I was just really just too lost to even be there. So I knew I wanted to do music. And anyway, so I ended up getting a class average for the year. I'm not really sure what happened in that year. I didn't really leave school and go straight to TAFE or anything like that. I just left and kind of like played out the year trying to be, I don't know, figure out my mind, I guess. And then by the end of the year, for the next year, I ended up enrolling into a TAFE course for music, and I went out to Orange of all places and I studied music out there. And so that was kind of interesting. But so I went out there, I ended up coming back, doing another year at Ultimo TAFE in the city. So I got like 2 years of like music at TAFE. I auditioned for the Australian Institute of Music for guitar and drums, and I got in, which was cool. But then at that time I was getting into poker as well, and like music, just like I went to the music school for like 2 or 3 months, and it was just like too competitive. There was no supportive culture. No one wanted to help each other. I loved music so much, and I saw that all of this music stuff was going online, and I just didn't see a future for me as a professional musician. So I didn't want to kill off the love that I had for music because of what I saw in the future. And so I guess I had this intuition that I trusted myself with, and decided, no, I'm not going to the Australian Institute of Music anymore. So I went for like 2 or 3 weeks and then pulled myself out because I was 18 at the time. And then I really got into poker at that time and saw the potential, because poker was booming at the time, and the potential for me to actually make a career of myself as a poker player. And so I pursued that, kept music a hobby, and I suppose the rest is history. And you know, there's a lot more to the story that happened after that, and poker's been a roller coaster, but I've certainly achieved way more than I ever thought I would. And but I guess the core of what I wanted to talk about with my post today was that teenagers are really lost right now. I'm seeing it from teenagers' point of view. I'm hearing it from parents' points of view, especially with everyone in lockdown and studying at home. Like, there's a lot of change going on for teenagers, and I just want to use my skills to really help them, as well as, you know, use my experience, you know, like my experience as a teenager who was really quite troubled. And, you know, I didn't get my school certificate. Well, I didn't sit the test, but I didn't actually officially get it, but I did. Didn't do my HSE, but I guess I turned out all right, as they say. So look, with my skills as well as like my training as a counselor and a coach and a mindset coach, like I'm excited now to actually really start putting into play a program to help teenagers to be able to just be best supported. So it's basically like a 10-week program, one-on-one sessions and everything. And look, guys, I'm not going to say too much more about my program, because if you're interested in it, send me a message and I'll get you on board with it. We can have a chat. I can show you my program and we can see if it will work for you and your teenager. But yeah, look, I mean, right now, like, I just wanted to share my story with that, because it just means like so much to me. I actually feel it when I talk about this story. You know, because it was an emotional time and a really heavy change of my entire social and, I guess, like psychological construct. So yeah, you know, thanks for listening if you guys have listened this far. And if you do have any more questions on my story or what I'm doing now as a teen mindset and peak performance coach, let me know, because I just think that a lot of these teenagers out there just need a bit of support and need some direction. And if I can provide that for them, then I'm here and I'm ready. And that's where I'm going to direct a lot of my attention right now. So thanks, guys, for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.